campaign video idea, my announcement video montage, or not really montage, but clips, maybe to some empowering music, but probably not, of me and city officials in public meetings and them dodging accountability. You know, I'm gonna ending with a string of Eric Batista's, and I'm being clear now, maybe not, but I don't know if I'm gonna actually declare open season on Batista. We might go the other route and try to go get rid of Plan E. I don't even know, and this is part of the whole problem. Everyone needs to fucking understand what's wrong with our city government, but Batista might not be the problem. I mean, obviously he's not doing his job as well as he could, but, I mean, maybe he is giving the limitations, given that we are one of 3 places in Massachusetts with mayor, city manager, and city council. So, where I'm going with this is that the system is fucking broken and the people in it are part of the problem. They're not the whole thing. And I think highlighting that will help turn out votes. So, campaign announcement video concept. I'm gonna call it a montage. It's not a montage. Of different moments with me and city in interacting with in public meetings, and them not answering me. So, like, you know, when I asked Kate Toomey why we were using contingency funds for ShotSpotter Connect when the DCU center was still a COVID center, and she non-answered me so hard that the next person was like, you know what, never mind, I want to answer what he said. And then Councillor King read us the dictionary definition of contingency. So there's, you know, I want to highlight those moments where I don't know if I need to include King in that montage. The Toomey thing is the important part. But where I'm going with this is that I have a history of actually seeking accountability from politicians that most of these fucking politicians don't. I'm going to show the first time I was in Parks and Rec meeting, and I said, can we read this anywhere? And I got the guy to say that he was the resource of information on this. And then, you know, I've since fought that in public records and to retroactively substantiate his point. And he hasn't been at the last 3 meetings, and I'm not sure if he'll be at the next one. I kind of assume he will. But where I'm going with this is there's a well-documented history of this, and I can show it in a lot of different little clips. And that might be the easiest way to kind of show why the fuck I'm doing this too. Now I want to talk about, I'm gonna actually fucking show the clip of Mayor Petty telling me to wrap it up repeatedly. Maybe that's part of this. Holy fuck. Well, that might be its own clip, but we should do a series of Mayor Petty telling people to wrap it up just for the Crisis Pregnancy Center public comments. Because that was his response to it. That was this administration's response to it. Wrap it up. It's not our problem. It's your problem. It's maybe the state's problem. Not our problem. Not their responsibility. And it is Worcester's responsibility. Worcester has created a safe haven for crisis pregnancy centers. And I realized that that is one of Worcester, it's such a clear-cut systemic issue that causes more issues. And it's really easily prevented by extending existing consumer protection laws to nonprofits with via like city ordinance. Effectively, they would just have to say, hey, medical practices have to follow the same guidelines as businesses. And then they couldn't do what they're fucking doing. They would have to specify that they don't offer abortions instead of specifically marketing to people seeking abortions, and then tricking, shaming, and sludging and sleazing them into keeping their child, which, you know, then contributes to all of the other, the people going to these things are people who primarily can't read English and do not have health care. And that is the demographic that is increased in Worcester by these organizations. Now, these organizations have been around for decades. And so part of the reason I know that is because, and this was one of my big arguing points with fucking Bergman and originally, they're not covered by consumer protection laws because, and this was determined when Planned Parenthood sued problem pregnancy, like in the 1980s or early 90s, and that over, you know, anyways, they did have to change their logo, and move down the street, not be like immediately, I don't know if it was next door or same building or what. Where I'm going with this is, it was determined that Planned Parenthood's lawyer fees were not being reimbursed because problem pregnancy is not engaged in commerce, which is a required part of 93A consumer protection laws in Massachusetts. No, if I was renting a roommate, not really engaged in commerce. If I'm renting out 3 units and like this is a source of income for me, that's engaged in commerce. There's a pretty clear-cut line, and nonprofits are not engaged in commerce. So long as places like Problem Pregnancy and was it Clearway, anyways, these places are not trying to make money. They're trying to prevent people from making rational medical decisions. And Worcester had an opportunity. In fact, we had like, we were in front of City Council. 7 is the number that I keep thinking of. I need to fucking verify that. But there were a bunch of really good, really, like some of the best fucking petitions I've ever, like, it's actually really fucking annoying that Bergman's gonna criticize my response to his stupid consolidating the statue and library one, because he, you know, there are so many shit, 1-page, poorly written, mediocre petitions, and then there was this thing submitted with 40 fucking attachments showing the Google results. I didn't even have to explain search engine optimization, and because they had screenshots showing that if you Googled abortion Worcester, these places were the first results, and that it was paid results, and it explained that. They did their fucking job. The city councilors who brought this before the rest of the council. The city attorney cited Google and a religious organ. Not even like the result. He just cited the second Google result. We do not have competent legal representation. That is by design. So, you know, I can't go ahead and like be nice to the city solicitor when he is such an integral part of the problem. City manager, I don't know, he seems like a good person, but he isn't really doing much great for Worcester. I mean, that's actually not accurate. He's doing a ton great for Worcester. But I don't know. I think I underestimated the mess he was handed, but I also, he's playing identity politics and doing the bare minimum and not actually, if he actually gave a shit about the people he was talking about, he would do things differently. He wouldn't prioritize a quality of life task force. He would prioritize actual assistance. He would prioritize companies other than Smock that create toxic, dysfunctional, shitty shelter environments. He would he wouldn't fucking expedite, sorry, not expedite. The last council meeting, he tried to make it so that you could become a constable in Worcester without his approval. And now I think the reason for that is actually probably because he hasn't been doing it the past 2 years. It looks like it was something the former person slacked on. But yeah, anyways, he's not really acting in the interests of the people. He's acting in the interests of the old white men who've run this city for a long time. And Worcester's proud of the fact that it's an old mob town. Like, we have a proud tradition of, you know, justifying people getting towed from parking lots because, you know, oh yeah, Pat's patrols that place. It's now Boulevard, not Pat's. But what I'm trying to say is, Worcester has accepted and embraced this, but hasn't recognized it. We don't actually treat our systems as if they were designed to function for, you know, a few well-connected families. And when you look at it that way, and you look at how many different things haven't been fixed, it makes so much sense. So I'm gonna highlight that, and we can also then talk about the other politicians. You know, a lot of these people are from Worcester, but what is their actual interest in politics? Are they trying to do anything better for anyone? And if so, who? When you look a little bit into it, it's effectively police developers. And I mean, that gets votes, that gets elections, that's why our fucking city is going to shit.